advice. Let's go back to the phones. We have Laquita on the phone this morning. Good morning, Laquita.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. What's your question or comment?
Yes, I've been divorced about 7 years. And before the divorce, my husband, when he left the home, he began having an affair with a coworker. And shortly after that, he would bring the woman around when he would pick up the kids. We have 2 kids. He would bring her around. And he continues to, she's still with him when he comes over to get the kids and the house. My parents are still a little bit uncomfortable when he brings the woman around. And they...
Laquita, I think we dropped you there. All right, so are you still with us, Laquita?
I'm sorry?
Okay, all right. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there you go. So what's the question that you want our panelists to hear?
So my question is, why are they so uncomfortable with it? Or how should they?
Your parents?
Yes.
Well, I think they would be uncomfortable with it because, I mean, I could see that, is that you're their daughter. And he cheated on you, and I think sometimes it's hard for us because we think you're celebrating that when you're bringing the woman around trying to make the other parents, like, accept her. You can't make anybody accept that, but I think it's... Now, are you uncomfortable with it, Laquita?
I was in the beginning, but not anymore.
Okay, and then maybe it's a conversation you have with your parents. It is what it is. That is the new woman in his life, and the kids would have to get used to that. Just like if there was, there's a divorce and there's a new marriage.
Yeah, and I wonder if your motivation is that you want the best for the children, too. And if that's the case, that may be a case you might want to make with your parents. Let's do what's best for the kids and try to deal with this amicably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of very grown-up of her. I should say we're all grown-ups, but grown-up of her. Because a lot of people just couldn't handle that. Laquita, you're going to say what now?
Them being uncomfortable is okay. I just thought, why would they be uncomfortable? So that's okay for them to be uncomfortable, but we've got to do what's best for the kids.
Yeah, and I think they're uncomfortable. Part of it, too, is out of defense for their child, for you. All right, let's go to Angela. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning.
What's your question or comment?
Okay, my question is, what do you do when you always attract the wrong kind of man?
Well, I think you got an amen in the audience. You got an amen in the audience. Let me start right here. I love the fact when you said you always attract the wrong kind of man. So you realize that there's something going on starting with you. And I think, Mickey, you're the one that told me years ago, the light you put off is the moth you catch. Right? Change your light, you change your moth.
Right, that's true. I mean, you're gonna pull towards you what it is you're putting out. And so you got to look at yourself at that. If you're attracting the same kind of guy over and over and getting yourself in a bunch of trouble, problems in here and not out there. Right. So you got to look at yourself.
Yeah, and the best predictor of future behavior is what? Previous behavior.
Yeah.
So when you look at the resume, so to speak, you want to look at what's the history there in terms of relationships. That's not to say that someone can't change.
Right,
and that's not to say that people can't become better, but you got to be careful and guard your heart.
Yeah.
And don't get too involved until you really know what you're getting into.
Well, and then with therapy, you have to, I think it's a great thing to go to therapy because sometimes, most therapists can just nail it pretty quickly and then the light goes off. It did for me and I went, oh, the light goes off. It's almost like, this is going to be the extreme example, but why is it that when I talk to a lot of women who are in battered women's shelters, they always find a boyfriend or husband who beats. And a lot of us will go, I've never found one who would beat. Why is that? And that boyfriend or husband finds somebody who will take the beating. And so you have to ask yourself, this is like the perfect, imperfect relationship, where are these two extremes, why do they always attract each other? And oftentimes when I talk to them, I say, have you ever dated a nice guy before? Yeah, but... And then the guy who beats, you go, have you ever dated a woman who wouldn't allow you to do that? Yeah, I didn't like her.
And it's in the unconscious process of the psyche. It's the unresolved issues in the unconscious process of the psyche. They have a trauma background.
Right.
People who do that, they're reenacting their trauma from their past. It's not because they like to be abused or they like to abuse. They're reenacting. Who's Rihanna's ex-boy? Chris Brown.
Yeah, Chris Brown. Right.
Perfect example that we have in the media.
Yeah, and I just want to end with this because it was interesting. It's like her deal was, see, he beat me and I stayed. See how lovable I am, Dad? I really was lovable. And that guy was saying, I beat her and she stayed, so I must be lovable, right? So anyway, we'll be right back.